Thank you, sir. Namaste. Namaste and a warm welcome to everyone. May I request Mr. Arjun to kindly start the session?
Namaste and good evening to everyone. Today our class is very special with the theme of skill test. Professionals are ready for our maiden panel discussion. We have a very eminent and special guest today, Mr. Roberto Croci, sir, Managing Director of Microsoft for Startups, Middle East and Africa. As it is customary to start our special session with lighting of lamp, I request the IT team to kindly initiate the virtual lighting of lamp, and I request our esteemed guest, Mr. Roberto Croci, sir, and all my friends to kindly join.
I now request Ms. Ananya to take over.
Thank you, IT team. Now I welcome Dr. Prakramika, founder, director of Prakramika Vocational Institute, and because that to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Ms. Ananya. Namaste and a very good Sunday afternoon and good evening to one and all. I'm immensely happy and excited to welcome you all for an engaging event from the stack of Prakramika Vocational Institute. First, let me extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest, a very eminent and a passionate innovator, Mr. Roberto Croci, sir, Managing Director of Microsoft for Startups, Middle East and Africa. Mr. Roberto is an extremely busy person, and we are immensely thankful to him to take his time off from his busy schedule to share his thoughts with us. We welcome you, sir, to our platform, and I can say all of us are super excited to listen to you. I welcome all my dearest students of these SkillFest courses, their parents and well-wishers. Let me also welcome Ms. Akshaya Lakshmi Narsimhan, founder director of Emplusive and Impact, and Miss Akhila Narsimhan, faculty in Prakramika. Of course, both are my daughters. Let me quickly recap the journey of Prakramika Vocational Institute. It was founded by me in Chennai, India in 2014 to cater to the needs of neurodiverse children, their parents and caregivers with an objective to give meaning to the life of neurodiverse community. During the 7+ years of journey at Prakramika, we had successfully conducted comprehensive vocational training, including devising strategies in setting up vocational institutions in India and Oman for special educators, teachers, parents, and caregivers of neurodiverse children. All our training programs are rendered only as a service and hence always free of cost. While the above training programs were in premises, the current challenging time spurred us to innovate to try online learning programs for neurodiverse. Of course, we were apprehensive whether we could achieve our learning objectives. We tested our ideas with a pilot online program with Club Bengistan Group, first with front office management program for the neurodiverse students. The learning outcomes were good and we could smell success as many of our students got internship and job opportunities in hotel industries. Encouraged by the success of our online initiatives, we started a skill fest, a bouquet of 5 courses: front office, MS Office, spoken English, teacher assistant, and graphic designing. In short, at Prakramika Institute, we train neurodiverse children, provide them right occupational platforms that suit them, and look for every opportunity to connect with right organizations, people who have positive thoughts on inclusiveness in the society, like our Microsoft. Next in the stack from Prakramika is offering of diploma and postgraduate diploma courses, which we plan to roll out from Jan 2022 onwards, where the students are given option to select the courses of their choice. Like Martin Luther King, I also have a dream. One day, we want to build a full-fledged residential college exclusively for neurodiverse children, where they are offered variety of academic, graduate, postgraduate, diploma, and certificate programs, along with therapists, which many of them may require, and all at free of cost. May Almighty show us the path. While once again welcoming everyone, I hand over the floor to Ms. Ananya. Sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. Over to Mr. Prajwal.
Over to Mr. Prajwal.
Thank you, Gayatri Madam. The desire of Prakramika Vocational Institute to provide the neurodiverse various options is to learn to lead to roll out of Skill Fest. It is a stack of 5 different certified courses: MS Office for business, from office post management, spoken English, teacher assistant, and graphic designing. To ensure focus teaching, the intake was limited to 20 to 25 students per course. It was very heartening to know that the students were very active and could successfully demonstrate their learning. Apart from the certificates of completion from Prakramika Vocational Institute and Emplusive Training Center, the students can get Indian government accredited certificate and internationally recognized certificate if they require. May I request the IT team to kindly share the video presentation of Skill Fest journey. much, IT team. Now I request Miss Isha to take over.
Thank you, Mr. Prajwal. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the guest of the evening. With over 20 years experience working for Microsoft and Google, Mr. Roberto Croci has passion in innovation, startups, and people. He has bridged the gap between corporates and startups across more than 20 countries, helping them develop real solutions that solve real world problems. In his current role as the managing director of Microsoft for startups, Mr. Roberto is building Microsoft's new division from scratch in the area of innovation strategy. Mr. Roberto has helps organizations adopt the innovation mindset and use the technology that startups provide. He encourages founders of startups to think differently and be more curious. Mr. Roberto is passionate about mentoring young people, helping them develop a business mindset. He regularly speaks at prominent universities and local schools on a wide variety of subjects. In his personal world, Roberto enjoys reading hunter books, hiking, writing, and spending time with family. He has summited K2, the second highest mountain in the world. We are extremely fortunate to have a versatile and innovative person with us today. We extend our wholehearted welcome to you, sir. I now hand over to Miss Samit.
Samiksha, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Miss Isha. Before we start the panel discussion, let me introduce the panelists. Pavan Nayak. He has cleared his 12th grade and is currently doing his first year bachelor's in art. He carries 2 years of experience in data entry. His hobbies include cycling, singing, and drawing. Miss Anusha, she has completed her 12th grade and is currently in first year art teacher diploma. She enjoys drawing, craft, and quilling. Miss Andrea. Andrea is a grade 12 student. Avid music fan, sings well and can confidently hold her own in a band of musicians. Despite all her challenges, she is just discovering today's gadgets like smartphones. Mr. Kevin. He has completed his 12th and certification in graphic design and MS Office for Business with Prakramika Vocational Institute. He enjoys photo editing and designing. His hobby is to play cricket and sing songs. Mr. Ruhan. Ruhan has just completed MS Office for Business with Prakramika Vocational Institute and is also doing 10th grade in open school. He is also working currently with Impact as data entry intern. He is also learning Hindustani classical music. Wow! Mr. Soham. Soham is a graduate from University of Mumbai, India. His mission of life is to keep enhancing his skills, work with honesty and sincerity, and contribute to the organization as well as to the society. Mr. Gautam. Gautam Krishna is in his 10th grade. His accomplishments are in playing traditional percussion instruments such as rhythm and chenda, which he started from the age of 5. Wow! Miss Saloni Mathur. Saloni is very passionate about music, dance and cooking. She sings old Bollywood songs, plays the songs on keyboard. She can tell the day on any date of current year and 3 years ahead and back. Isn't that amazing? She has a very sharp memory. She remembers most of the activities done by her in the last 10 years. What an array talent panelists we have. I now invite Miss Akshaya Narasimhan, founder of Emplusive and Impact, to moderate this session. Over to you, Akshaya ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Samiksha. I now invite Mr. Pavan to share his question.
Mr. Pavan, can you unmute yourself?
Good evening, sir. My question to you is whether Microsoft employs the neurodiverse community. If yes, can you please throw some light on the related process?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pawan, for the question. Definitely, Microsoft is an organization that is definitely committed to diversity and inclusion, right? That we take it from a very broad angle. For us, accessibility, for example, is a key value, and it's something that is embedded in what we do, starting from our products, right? So we try to build the products that are for everyone. And we can only do that if we employ everyone, right? Because that diversity should flow as well into the product, whether it's understanding users in their circumstances, how they're using the products, in the diversity of users that we have, but also having a diverse employee base, right? So that represent society. And it's not only about gender, it's not only about geography, is hiring people with different backgrounds, different experiences, different abilities, everyone.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Sorry, I suddenly I was in jungle, so the range got away and my meeting went off by myself. I'm so sorry.
I didn't get it. Sorry.
May I know who this is?
I think it is from Tejas Ingle. Tejas, is absolutely fine. No worries. You can just continue to attend the session. Sorry for the interruption, sir. You may proceed.
No worries. And we are also recording the session, right? So I didn't get the message, but in case anyone needs to drop or is not able to follow the full session, I guess we will have the recording available. But basically, Pawan, to your question, definitely Microsoft employs also neurodiverse for the reasons we were sharing before. We have a full team dedicated to accessibility within our company. It's a global team. Jenny Lefleury, she is the Chief Accessibility Officer within Microsoft. So this is the team that is deploying a number of initiatives, whether they impact the development of product, but also employees and employability within organizations for people of determination, people with disabilities, and in general, practices to hire diverse teams within organizations. And the path is pretty straightforward. I mean, we don't differentiate the path to be hired at Microsoft. So you have a global portal where you can find opportunities. And being an equal employer, we will definitely be reviewing all the opportunities that are coming through, and taking into consideration as well, of course, the fact that we are hiring diverse teams, right? So people with different skills, different abilities, with different backgrounds, with different experiences. I believe this is one of the values that is fully embedded into what we do. We are also measured, every single employee is measured in terms of the return and the support in terms of diversity and inclusion. So everybody feels incentivized within the company to support diversity inclusion, to enable everyone to bring their own self to work, and enable anyone to empower everyone else within the teams, within the broader organization, to deliver at its best, at her best, at his best. And I believe this is the way we are demonstrating what we call at Microsoft the growth mindset, which is basically that mindset where we incentivize people to lean into uncertainty, take risks, be very curious, build on top of each other, and give equal opportunity to everyone, right? To access to the jobs that are available, to access to the opportunities that are available. So definitely, it's something we care about, and it's something we hire for, and we are. I would say it's even embedded in the values that we represent, and as an organization, as a company. And at the end of the day, this is a set of behaviors, right, that we try to live by, and you can only keep us accountable, right, in terms of demonstrating these behaviors.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's indeed great to see the initiatives of Microsoft towards having a diverse employee base, and also the consideration the Microsoft is giving for neurodiverse hiring with right accommodations, both within the organizations and across the team. Thank you, sir. Over to Ms. Anusha.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you just please open my camera, please?
Yes, Anusha.
Greetings, sir. My question to you is, what skill Microsoft looks from and how can we grade achieve?
That's a great question, Anusha. Thank you for asking. We are looking for young people and talent that comes with the right attitude, right? So we believe that skills can be taught, right? So, and every single employee that joins Microsoft has access to a wealth of trainings that are available across many different things, from business related trainings, so product related trainings, soft skills related trainings, and things like that. But what we hire for is more attitude, right? So is people that come in with the right approach, this willingness to keep learning, and not just this assumption of knowing it all. This ability to also work in a team, right? So being very collaborative, because at the end of the day, we can only grow as an organization if the sum is greater than the parts, right? So we need people that are team players, that have those soft skills in terms of understanding human behavior, understanding, what the customer needs are, empathizing with the customers or the partners or the other employees working in the team. We need people that come in with the curiosity, sometimes challenging the status quo, but being constructive, right? Being proactive and constructive in proposing ideas, in proposing solutions to challenges and problems that we might be facing as an organization, or our customers and or partners might be facing. So if you want, is more hiring for attitude, is more hiring for culture add rather than just culture fit, is hiring for people that come in with creativity, with team player skills, with critical thinking, and with that desire to keep learning and working collectively as a team to make things happen. Again, we believe that hard skills, of course, we depending which area of the business, right? So we might hire more technical profiles, where we need people more in product development, where we need people more in engineering, or we need people more in technical support or advisory to clients and partners. We might hire for more softer skills, like people that are more into business development, people more into sales. So people that are able more to build those relationships with clients and partners and keep and maintain and nurture those relationships. These are more hardcore skills that you find in the experience of people that would join the organization. But for recent grads or for youth, I would say the most important thing that we look into are the values, the mindset, the attitude, the willingness to learn, the willingness to invest, in yourself before anyone else, right? So that sort of attitude is something that creates the magic when we build a team. So definitely, it's where we focus on, and those are the skills we focus on when we are hiring people in our teams.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, it indeed was very insightful. And I think our professionals, apart from having the technical skills, they must have that willingness to grow, be inquisitive, understand each other. And I think, yes, they must place emphasis on nurturing the business relationship so that they also grow and then the organization as well grows. So that's indeed a great point for our neurodiverse professionals. Thank you, sir. And over to Miss Andrea.
Good evening, sir. My question for you is, what tools are developed by Microsoft for the neurodiverse segment, and how do we access them?
That's an amazing question, Matilda, right? So thank you for asking. So specifically for say neurodiversity, there are different set of tools that we are developing and we keep developing and are available, right? So usually tools are officially available, right? So you can either Bing them or Google them, and you can find them on our public websites. But some of these tools, for example, to give you some concrete examples, immersive reader. Sorry, say it again. Oh, sorry, I heard just some noise. One is the immersive reader, for example, is a free tool that uses proven techniques to improve reading for people regardless of their age or ability, right? So again, it's a free tool. I can drop afterwards in our chat the links to some of these tools I'm mentioning right now. This tool improves comprehension. So it's a tool that read text out loud, break it into syllables, and increase spacing between lines and letters, for example, right? So it's very useful. It encourages also independent reading. So it's a sort of a teaching aid, yeah, that helps teachers support students with different abilities. It's simple to use, and actually this is something we try to keep it consistent across the different tools that we make available. So being very easy, simple to use. You can test drive immersive reader with your own content, and you will find it extremely simple to use. It's extremely easy, and it's available for free, right? So you can get it for free. So again, I can share a link to it, and the tool is pretty interesting because, for example, it can increase fluency for English language learners or readers of other languages, right? So because it can improve reading comprehension, it can help build confidence for emerging readers learning to read at higher levels. It can offer text decoding solutions for students with learning differences such as dyslexia, for example, right? So there are different features you will see in the tool, from enhanced dictation to focus mode, so you can sustain attention and improve reading speed by using the tool. There is font spacing and short lines, as we said before. There is, the parts of the speech is a feature that supports instruction and improves also the writing quality. We talked before about the syllabification and comprehension mode, right? That improves comprehension, usually by an average of 10%, which is quite interesting. So the immersive reader is available on different platforms. It's integrated with the OneNote, with Word, Outlook, Office Lens, Microsoft Edge, Microsoft Teams. So it's embedded into our product, so it can offer an experience that go seamless across different Microsoft products. So this is one example. Other tools, for example, we mentioned Lens, Office Lens. Office Lens is a great way to capture notes and information from whiteboards, menus, signs, handwritten memos, anything with a lot of text, right? So you don't need to jot down notes. You rely on blurry images or worry about misplacing anything. It's really great for capturing sketches, for example, drawings or equations too, and even images without text, right? So with Office Lens for Windows, you can it gets rid of shadows and odd angles so that images are easier to read. You can upload document and whiteboard images to, again, some of the tools you mentioned before, to Word, PowerPoint, OneNote, OneDrive, so to the suite of Microsoft products. And you can save them as attachments, as PDFs, for example, into an email. Again, Office Lens is available across Microsoft suite of products, and is again another great tool that is available, especially for people with neurodiversity. The other great feature that we see a lot of usage is read aloud. So for example, now you can listen to your Outlook email messages with read aloud, right? So it's super easy to turn it on and off in Outlook, for example, right? So, and then, you know, you can let Outlook read your messages to you, easy. That's as easy as it is. Another tool that we see a lot of traction in people with neurodiversity is the PowerPoint designer. So, for example, if you want to create professional slide layouts, you can use now PowerPoint designer, and basically it will suggest you a design, right, for your presentation for you, and it will improve the slides, you know, automatically generating design ideas that you can choose from, right? So while you're putting content on a slide, the designer works in the background to match that content to professionally designed layouts. Again, this is something available in PowerPoint. You can get design ideas, you know, and you know, it's easier for you then to finalize the presentation, right? Because you will focus on the content. You will get to choose across different templates, different layouts, and then you will be able to finalize a nice presentation in a shorter period of time and in a professional design like way. These are some of the tools. Then, depending on other abilities, I mean, we have other tools that are available. Depending if we focus more on vision, for example, we have features within products like color filters or Tell Me or high contrast mode, magnifiers, right? So there are plenty of features within the products that make them more accessible and more usable, depending on which abilities we are focusing on, right? So we focus a lot on hearing, for example. So when you see the subtitles in PowerPoint or in Teams Live, the Teams Live captions, Teams Live events, mono audio stream video, notification delays, right? So all of this is more geared towards the hearing. Or mobility, we have cloud co-authoring solutions, design ideas, keyboard shortcuts, these sort of things. We focus a lot, of course, on mental health with analytics solutions that suggest, you know, a better use of time with Nightlight features, focused inbox, to-do list, PowerPoint coach that as well are helpful for our users. And we try also to make sure that compliance-wise, our products are checked for accessibility. So we have this accessibility checker, accessibility templates, accessibility insights that are embedded into the products. So you can, for example, once you build the outcome, whether it's a Word letter or document or a PowerPoint presentation or a OneNote document, you can always check if it's compliant towards the accessibility guidelines that have been embedded into the product.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed a comprehensive list of what Microsoft is doing for the community. And I did read about the immersive reader, Office Lens, and Read Aloud, but I would like to highlight about the PowerPoint design ideas, which you had mentioned. I think for any of us, it was a booster, but we have amongst our professionals today, there were 2 batches of Microsoft Office professionals, and they indeed enjoyed the design ideas, developing from there and then making the business presentations. So that was something which was really helpful. And thank you so much and thanks to Microsoft also for doing so much for us. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you, sir. Over to Mr. Kevin.
Good evening, sir. My question to you is, what do you think future jobs look like? What areas should one focus on? Is there a place for us in that?
Kevin, thank you so much. This is a wonderful question. You are touching on a very wide topic, right? So the future of work and what that would look like. So look, there are definitely, we are seeing digital transformation happening all the time, right? So our CEO, Satya Nadella, back in June 2020, when he was asked about a comment on the on the pandemic and how a company like Microsoft was coping with that, and what we were seeing from this privileged position, right, working with many organizations worldwide, he said, look, in 2 months, April and May in 2020, we saw 2 years of digital transformation happening. So digitization has been impacting a number of organizations, companies, industries all over the world, right? And probably the necessity that the pandemic created accelerated the adoption of technology and the adoption of digital solutions and digital technologies in the organizations, right? So, and this is to say that this acceleration probably is pushing towards more adoption of this technology, towards more automation. So probably jobs of the future will be, we will have more these machines and algorithms, replacing jobs where the jobs that can be automated for sure in the long term. But that's not a bad news per se, because that doesn't mean that humans will be fully replaced, right? So that means probably that human skills, the skills and the jobs of the future will probably also gear towards more creativity, towards more human skills, right? So human interactions. And we see also an increased attention towards mental health and towards, values and social relationships, right? That probably as a society, we've been putting aside in generally speaking, instead of other values, instead of other priorities, right? So probably jobs of the future will be towards more intersection across different disciplines. And this is where the next wave of innovation probably will start happening. And it will require more creativity and human-centered leadership, if you want, because definitely there is more complexity, there is more ambiguity as well in the decisions that are to be taken in today's world. And that requires probably a stronger focus on what we used to call before the soft skills, what is the world of creativity and innovation, right? So reimagining the future. So in fact, we saw most organizations, there are usually 3 phases, right? When a crisis happens and how an organization responds. So there are 3 phases. One is the pure response phase, where you are in the middle of it. You realize what's happening and you just respond, right? So you try to, as fast as possible, fix the issues and try to find a quick fix or a quick solution to that issue. The second phase is more recovery, right? So it's more intentional. Still is responding to the issue, but you probably got a little bit more time to reorganize your resources, to make sense of it, to understand what you really want to do and how to evolve from that. But the most important phase probably is the third one, is reimagine, right? So it's not enough to respond and recover. Probably we need to reimagine. And these are the jobs of the future, is the skills needed is that creativity to reimagine. Reimagine what? Reimagine a user experience. Reimagine an industry, right? But you don't wake up in the morning thinking, I'm reimagining this industry. You wake up in the morning saying, I'm reimagining this process. I'm reimagining this collaboration. I'm reimagining this user experience, this pain point, and so on and so forth, right? So those are the skills that we believe will be key in the jobs that we will be seeing created in the next months. And this is a good news, because at the end of the day, those are skills that depends on ourselves, right? So it depends on our ability to interpret the world, our ability to rethink, reimagine creatively what we see today, and focusing on real problems, trying to find innovative solutions, try to be very much innovative. And that doesn't mean coming with a breakthrough innovation all the time. It could be incremental innovation, but the sum of those increments will end up adding with a lot of substantial value for the economy, for society, for the organizations, because it will be increased efficiency. It will be increased time that employees can dedicate also to themselves, to their families, to their own personal development, and so on and so forth.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed extremely valuable advice, since our professionals are in that phase now. They've completed the training and they're on to the employment and getting into the workplace. So definitely we do agree with the fact that technology is taking course in the faster pace, and our professionals have to learn, master, along with the soft skills, as you had mentioned about reimagining, which leads to innovations at even a granular process level. So thank you so much, sir. And over to Mr. Ruhan.
Greetings, sir. My question to you is, can you please let us know what type of soft skills Microsoft looks for from their employees?
Yeah, this is Rohan. Thank you so much. These questions connects very much to the previous one, right? So because when you hire, when you think about the jobs of the future, when you think about how you keep being relevant, right? And especially from a company like Microsoft, where the outlook is we are trying to build the products that can scale, right? So we try to build products that can impact the life of millions of users, right? So that scale is really massive. So you also think about which soft skills you need. So I would say there are definitely a number of soft skills that we focus on, right? So the first key one I would say is, and we touch base in the very beginning of our panel, is all about diversity and inclusion. So this is, as I said, this is not even a skill. This for us is a value that is embedded into who we are and who we want our teams to be, right? So, and consequently, who we hire into the organization. So, and again, diversity and inclusion is not just reduced to a pure gender quota. So teams should be half and half, male and females, right? So that would be stupid. It has to be based on merit, right? So diversity and inclusion, diversity, equity and inclusion goes beyond gender and geography. It's more about hiring people that have a diversity of backgrounds, a diversity of experiences. Then, of course, it depends at which level or with which level of seniority you are hiring, right? So with people with more seniority, you're also hiring people that have a specific expertise, but also significant experience that they gained through their professional career. With more junior people, you try to hire for the attitude that we started talking about before, right? So people that come in with curiosity, people that come in with team playing attitude, people that come in with that learn it all sort of attitude versus the know it all of people that think that they already know everything because they got a title, they got a degree or a certificate, and they assume that they have learned it all, right? So actually learning is lifelong today. So we shouldn't stop thinking that, hey, we got a degree and it's done. It's not a linear path anymore, right? So it's more the diversity of experiences and how a certain person has built his own or her own path and connected the dots across those different experiences that results in unique profiles, right? Because the reality today is we receive CVs from people that have 3 MBAs, they speak 5, 6, 7 languages, right? So how would you pick? Is not that's not probably the differentiator, right? The differentiator is more who you are and how you are able to communicate, through your curriculum first, and then through the interview process and through, the interactions that you're having with the company during the interview process, who you really are, right? Because that attitude, we need to get a sense of it. Soft skills are about, as well, as we said, and this is increasingly important, working as a team, right? So it seems straightforward, but a lot of teams are not performing because people within the team are not able to work together, or the manager of the team is not able to set an environment where people in the team can really express themselves, feel comfortable with dissenting or challenging other points of view, right? So, and that's an ability, right? So that's a skill that we need to see both from the manager side, but also from people that join the company that needs to be more players, right? So, and then soft skills is also communication. You might, be the best individual professional in your field, but if you're not able to communicate what you do, and if you're not able to communicate the outcome of what you have done and what your team has done, still it gets irrelevant, right? So people should know and should understand why a certain professional or a certain team is doing what they're doing, what are the outcomes, what is the impact, how they are collaborating cross-functionally with other teams. So communication is really key, right? So, and communication is not just, about giving a beautiful speech. It's also about how you follow up with people, right? So how you set the expectations before you meet certain people, right? So that is also communication. It is how you regularly keep someone informed or updated about something, right? So it's not just being in front of an audience and giving a beautiful keynote speech. Is also about making sure that you are intentional and you are clear when you communicate, and that clarity reflects into the actions and the outcomes of the team. So I would say it's all about leadership at the end of the day, and that boils down to diversity and inclusion, to communication, to being a team player, to being curious and willing to learn. And these are soft skills that pair with critical thinking and problem solving, can make a well-rounded profile and a professional that is more projected towards this new way of working, right? So which is less hierarchical, more flat organizations, more dynamic, more flexible, based on purpose, based on outcomes, and not just on presence, right? So those are the skills that we look for.
Thank you, sir. Soft skill development is indeed vital. And I think just like Microsoft, even other organizations would also expect the same while hiring people. And all our professionals must eventually get equipped to possess all those skills, be it we are thinking out of box, curiosity, the interaction, communications at all levels, as you had mentioned, within the team, across the team, and also with the clients and customers. And coming to the point which you had first mentioned, the first question, nurturing business relationship communication. So everything is required in keeping in parallel with focus on goals of the company and the team. So thank you so much, sir, for such valid points. And over to Mr. Soham.
Good evening, sir. My question to you is, what is it making it difficult for companies to hire neurodiverse?
Great question, Soham. I will make it simple, in my opinion. Then there might be, of course, a variety of different reasons, but I believe it boils down to culture, the culture of the company, right? So, it is proven today that hiring, for example, for diversity, and I would include then hiring for neurodiversity, right? So has a direct impact on the bottom line, the business outcomes, right? So companies that invest and truly believe and invest, so they put also the money where the mouth is, right? So companies that invest into hiring for diversity and neurodiversity have higher business outcomes than companies that do not do that, right? So why then certain companies do not do that? I believe it's a matter of culture, first of all, that is then tied to leadership, right? So because the leaders within the organization set the culture of the organization, because at the end of the day, culture is a set of behaviors and values, and how you live by those behaviors and those values, right? So how you are, how the standard you walk past is implicitly the standard that you accept. So this is where it gets interesting. I believe culture is something that is now spoken at every different level. Everybody is talking now about, the secret sauce of an organization, of a startup, of a large organization is the culture of the organization, right? So where all of this gets stuck is then the execution of it. And the leadership. So right, it boils down to people that starting from the top, they really embodies those values. They really make decisions that live by those behaviors and values, and all of the rest will follow right through the organization. So what prevents organization to hire more for neurodiverse? I believe is the culture where you don't set those behaviors clearly. You don't set those objectives and those values that clearly, and you don't over communicate with your employees frequently enough for igniting that mechanism where it all starts, right? So in principle, it's easy to say, yes, we are hiring for diversity, we are doing tech for good, we are doing this and that, right? So but a lot of times this ends up being pure PRs, right? Pure a communication effort rather than executing on it. And how you execute on it, you really need to be very intentional and explicitly set OKRs that are aligned with your culture, with your values, with your objectives, right? So with the behaviors that you want to see happening in your organization. And then is also sticking to it, right? So if you see a behavior that is not coherent or aligned with what you want to see to happen, you should take action on it. If you see a value that is disregarded or not respected, you should take action on it. If you see an objective that is not progressed through, and you're measuring it, and worse would be if you're not measuring against it, but if you're measuring it, you should take action on it, right? So the execution ends when either the leadership in this organization have not set the right alignment to have this, what I call the line of sight, right? So once you have clarity on your purpose and you translate it into the culture, which behaviors, values, and set of actions you want to see happening, and the measure of it, right? So then you have this line of sight, and then you can execute on it, right? So because you have a framework, you put in place something that then you have an execution framework. It's not just slides on a PowerPoint that someone defined as a strategy, but we're talking about something different, right? We're talking about making things happen and execution of it. So I believe it's clear on one hand that everybody is talking the talk, and everybody would say all the time, yes, culture is important, yes, diversity is important, yes, we are doing this and that. But what makes the difference is the execution, and the execution comes with having the right culture in place and driving that culture through a framework of OKRs, of objectives that you can measure, and then you can really see the progress through quarter over quarter, year over year, and act upon. So that's where you see a lot of organizations don't do that and get stuck with the core alignment that they built around their core business. But they either it's a matter of they didn't take the time to do that. It's a matter of leadership, lack of leadership, that they're not addressing it or facing it. And most of the times the common denominator is an execution issue rather than a strategy or leadership issue. But execution is also a leadership issue, because then you should act upon your intention, right? So this is where it gets stuck usually most of the times, and it requires facing that, and it requires change that should start from the top with the human-centered leadership within the organization that are able to recognize that situation and implement change through changing the culture, which is identifying and having a clarity of communication around the purpose and the culture of the organization, identifying the behaviors to incentivize, to reward, and the behaviors that will not be tolerated, identify the values to be respected and the values that will not be respected within the organization, and then the measure of success, right? So concrete objectives, KPIs, that the organization will measure to drive the progress and to drive the momentum and to make things happen through the organization.
Thank you, sir. And I think this point definitely we would agree 100% that yes, companies must focus on diversity, inclusion, and most of the companies, or many of the companies, they focus on creating awareness. And that, yes, sometimes it becomes as a PR and it doesn't go to the execution level, because it does take effort on planning, creating an intricate and comprehensive framework, and then set definitely their KPIs, targets, which is more human-centric. It does take effort, but I think once the effort taken, the implementation shows its own pathway, and then it's just growth from there. So companies must look towards more inclusive practices to provide opportunities for all. Thank you, sir. And over to Mr. Gautam.
Good evening, sir. My question to you is, what is the role of Microsoft bring advance of enable inclusion workplace and education?
Great question, Gautam. I think the role of Microsoft is a key role within the ecosystem, right? So Microsoft is a worldwide known brand with worldwide presence. We have a wide network of partners. We have a huge number of customers, right? So, and a huge number of employees to start with, right? So the impact that we can have by leading the way, and leading the way by doing taking actions on diversity and inclusion, as to your question, can be huge, right? Because imagine the scale of a company that has more than 160,000 employees, plus the contractors, vendors, plus all the partners, plus all the customers, right? And the scale effect that partners and customers can have with their own employees and their own customers, right? So the impact can be huge also because of what the brand represent and what is our mission. So think about it. Our mission as an organization is we aim to empower every single individual and organization in the world to achieve more, right? So, and it's ambitious, right? So we are talking about every single individual and organization in the world. So it's a huge scale, right? So the role that Microsoft can have as a brand that is worldwide known, building technology that a huge number of people are using every day, all over the world, the role is huge. Also because think about it, we are building products that more and more are using AI and machine learning, for example, right? So, and we're building these products for everyone, as we said before. So imagine if these products would be very much biased because of we are not hiring for inclusion, we are not factoring diversity and inclusion, even in the product development. Would you want yourself to use a product that is that biased? Would you want yourself to have your kids, your sons in the future that will be probably even more automated with even more advanced artificial intelligence and machine learning driven products? Would you want them to use something that is built with a lot of bias in the beginning, and that bias can only be exponentially scaled across humanity? That wouldn't be good, right? So I believe that the role that Microsoft can play here is huge. Not only Microsoft, of course, most of the tech companies today, but not only tech companies, right? So, but talking about Microsoft, I think the role is huge, and it starts from, as I said before, it starts from our mission, right? So if we are coherent and we really try to deliver on our mission, to empower every organization and every single individual in the world to achieve more, it comes evident how the diversity and inclusion thing is central to what we do. And that's why I said before, it's not just an activity. It's not just a separate project. It's not just yet another area of the business. It's a value. It's a value that is embedded into what we do. Employees are measured towards diversity and inclusion. And it's a value that we respect, right? So it's something that impacts hiring, how we hire people. It's something that impacts how we work with customers and partners, how we build products, right? So, but again, we need to be true to what we say that it's our value. For example, sometimes this is a simple example. Sometimes I'm invited to attend or to participate to panels where, it's all male, and we decided I will not attend those panels unless it's mandatory. because we want to embody the values that we preach for, right? So and this is a very simple example, but it starts like that. It starts by living by the values that you believe in, and the standard you walk past is the one that you accept. So the role that Microsoft can have by having these scaled relationships and engagements worldwide is huge. And again, it boils down to Microsoft employees and Microsoft people in the first place to live by those values and to represent those values in their interactions with their partners, with their customers, with their colleagues, right? So again, this should be transferred also to every single other organization in the world. It's not just Microsoft. So by having companies like Microsoft leading the way in these things, for example, we believe we can inspire the other organizations as well that are not doing much around this topic to embed this in their values as well and to live by those values, because we see that there is a real impact in focusing on diversity and inclusion within organizations that has an impact on economic growth, but also has an impact on the revolution that we are living today, which is we're already post the fourth industrial revolution. We are in the fifth revolution where it's all about humans, right? So, and we need more human-centered leadership. We need more human-centered products. We need more human-centered technology. So that's where the role that a brand like Microsoft can play is huge, because it's impacting the life of millions of people. And it starts with skilling, it starts with empowering people, but it also keeps going with the ongoing relationship and commercial relationship and partnership relationships that are set all over across the world.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, Microsoft has definitely set as example, and many more organizations must confront like Microsoft to support the neurodiverse. And when you had highlighted about the technology and AI, I think Microsoft has come out with a recent division of AI for accessibility, which is focused on the technological innovation in this D&I sector. So they're indeed doing a great job, but yes, other corporates should also confront to adopt inclusive practices. Thank you, sir. And over to Ms. Saloni.
Yes. Greetings, sir. My question to you is, does Microsoft offer any courses to upskill neurodiverse?
Saloni, thank you so much for your question. Absolutely, yes. Externally, we have a number of resources that offer trainings and content for inclusion and neurodiverse. We have a comprehensive guide, for example, to disability inclusion best practices, for example. We have an accessibility site, which is our primarily externally facing accessibility page. We have accessibility features broken out by disability segment on a SWAY portal. All of these things are links as well that I can share as a follow-up with you and the community. We have resources on Microsoft inclusive hiring programs, including links to jobs, videos, upcoming events. We have also a desk that is called the Disability Answer Desk, where customers with disabilities get support with Microsoft Office and Windows. This includes product issues, accessibility questions, use of assistive technology, things like that. We have the same thing for enterprise customers. And we have an accessibility blog as well that is dedicated to neurodiversity and people with other disabilities. We also have similar things internally for our employees. We have an accessibility 101, which is where you get started by learning the basics about accessibility. I completed that myself as well, and we encourage all the time employees to complete that as a starting point. And then we have a learning program library focused on accessibility. We do a lot of events as well that are both internal and external. So definitely there is a wide range of resources that are available for people with neurodiversities that we invite the community to tap into and to give us feedback in case you see anything missing. But the resources available are quite broad, and there are a number already available. So definitely happy to follow up with all of you after the event with the links to these resources. I hope you will find those resources that are already available useful and relevant to keep learning about the products, to keep learning about how to interact with technology, to keep learning about what Microsoft is doing in this area and many other things.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. And that would indeed be a very useful piece of information, be it the guide for disability inclusion and whatever support system and the learning programs which Microsoft is coming up with. It would be, we'd be really thankful if you could share the resources with us. Thanks a lot, sir. And over to Ms. Ananya to proceed further.
That was a wonderful panel discussion. Now I invite Miss Patata from her musical
Over to Prajakta now.
मालिक तेरे बंदे हम, ऐसे हो हमारे करम। नेकी पर चले और बदी से बचे, ताकि हद से हुए निकले दम। ए मालिक तेरे बंदे हम, ऐसे हो हमारे करम। नेकी पर चले और बदी से टले, ताकि हद से हुए निकले दम। ए मालिक तेरे बंदे हम। जब जुल्मों का हो सामना, तब तू ही हमें थामना। जब जुल्मों का हो सामना, तब तू ही हमें थामना। ओ बुराई करे हम बुराई भरे, नहीं बनने की हो कामना। बड़ों से प्यार का है कलम, और मिटे मेरे साए बरम। नेकी पर चले और बदी से टले, ताकि हद से हुए निकले दम। ये मालिक तेरे बंदे हम। तेरा इंसान घबरा रहा, ये अंधेरा घना छा रहा। तेरा इंसान घबरा रहा, हो रहा है खबर कुछ न आसान, जब उसका सूरज छिपा जा रहा। ये तेरी रोशनी में वो दम, जो अमावस को कर दे पूनम। नेकी पर चले और बदी से टले, ताकि हद से हुए निकले दम। ए मालिक तेरे बंदे हम, ऐसे हो हमारे करम। नेकी पर चले और बदी से टले, ताकि हद से हुए निकले दम। ए मालिक तेरे बंदे हम।
Over to Miss Ananya.
That great tradition, Miss Batata. Now I invite Miss Asia Ma'am, founder and CEO of Emplusive to share the program progress of Emplusive.
Thank you, Ms. Ananya. Namaste and good evening to everyone. I'm sure all of us were pretty much enthralled with the interactions with Mr. Roberto, sir. As we take a short pause, let me take the opportunity to share a few details about my startup Impact, Emplusive Analytics and Creative Technologies. When I was working with my mother in Prakramika Vocational Institute, I always used to wonder why a friendly workspace is not available to neurodiverse. Maybe it is because such initiatives are often viewed from corporate social responsibility perspective or as awareness drives. Such initiatives will at best result in offering 1% or even lesser jobs to the neurodiverse. So why not spin it the other way around? Have an organization for neurodiverse and employ them in majority, leaving it just 20% around for neurotypicals to make it as an inclusive atmosphere. Hence, Impact was founded recently with an objective to provide employment opportunity to neurodiverse in an inclusive workspace setup. However, the headcount will be skewed 80 to 20 in the favor of neurodiverse. In the initial stages, we are looking at 4 domains: data entry with MS Word, data entry with MS Excel, quality assurance, and the marketing team. It gives us immense pleasure to announce that we have already hired 16 neurodiverse professionals. I'm confident that we will be able to demonstrate that this is a workable model of business and showcase the world our prototype so that others can replicate the business model. As we are taking baby steps in this journey to empower the neurodiverse segment, we look forward to whatever support from tech giants like Microsoft could offer for us. With such aspirations, let me thank Mr. Roberto, sir, for his time and thoughts. Now over to Ms. Ananya to continue the proceedings.
Thanks, ma'am. Now I invite our eminent guest, Miss Mr. Roberto, sir, to share his thoughts.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ananya. First of all, thank you for inviting me today. I really love the spending this time with all of you. Thank you for your questions and for the energy and being a great community. So definitely enjoy the time with you. I would like to start with this consideration. In the past, you had to adapt to the world, right? But today, and say in the future, and hopefully today, the world will adapt to you, right? So when we talk about accessibility, what exactly is accessibility? It can mean different things to different people. When some people think of accessibility, they think about designing buildings and structure with accessibility in mind, for example. Or making sure they're following accessibility compliance standards, both of which are great, but it's much, much more than that. We believe that accessibility is creating experiences that are better for everyone, right? So it can be how people access the cloud, for example, when we talk about technology, or the ability to consume or read content, right? So accessible technology powered by AI can empower people in your daily lives, in our daily lives, and help us gain independence. Think about school. In a diverse classroom, inclusive education tools give more students personalized access to curriculum and improve learning outcomes. But not only in the classroom, in the workplace. It can be about striving to build a culture of inclusion where it's embedded into the fabric of the organization, right? So the other consideration is also that accessible technology enabled by artificial intelligence and other technologies available today help people with disabilities unlock their full potential, whether it's at work, at school, or at home, right? So at work, for example, we see a lot of inclusive content being developed with teams that can enable greater digital inclusion and collaboration with, products and digital tools such as accessibility checkers, AI text generated for images, captions for audio, that make it easier for everyone to make more inclusive presentations and communications, for example. At school, we see a lot of inclusive learning, right? So people with learning disabilities can use applications to help increase focus, concentration, and understanding, right? So tools that empowers students to improve their reading skills by reducing visual clutter, for example, or assisting in pronunciation or highlighting individual words, as we shared before. But even at home, right, we think about inclusive gaming. For example, I'm amazed about what the Xbox teams is doing. And Xbox, for example, the team believes gaming should be fun for everyone. And they're building inclusive gaming experiences for hardware, services, and the gaming community. So that approach has led, for example, to the design of the Xbox Adaptive Controller that fans can use to play on a gaming platform with diverse content and content creators, right? So inclusion is basically enabling transformative change with accessible technology. And I also believe personally, accessibility is a human imperative, right? So globally, more than 1 billion people have disabilities, about 15% of the world's population, and many of whom need assistive technology, right? But only 1 in 10 have access to the products needed. And disability is something that can affect any of us at any time, right? So it's a business imperative. And actually, this is a very important point. We have some research today that show that companies that embrace best practices for employing and supporting more persons with disabilities in the workforce have outperformed their peers. There was this recent research from Accenture in partnership with Disability In and the American Association of People with Disabilities. And they found out that the 45 companies identified as standing out for their leadership in areas specific to disability employment and inclusion had, on average, over the 4-year period of the research, 28% higher revenue, double the net income, and 30% higher economic profit margins than their peers. So accessibility is a business imperative, and companies that embrace best practices for employing and supporting people with disabilities in the workplace outperform their peers. And think about it, and this is probably the key point of my thoughts is, if you don't design for accessibility and inclusion, it's like saying to every 5th person who walks in your door, I don't really want your business. And you wouldn't do that. So it's something that is important for us all. And it's great to see, the energy and the determination and the willingness to change the world from all of you guys. When the panel, the people asking the questions were introduced before, you all had great hobbies, great interest and great achievements right in your life. I'm personally working with a startup. His founder is a guy from Brazil, but he relocated here in the UAE. He lives in Abu Dhabi. The name of the startup is called Key to Enable. He built an hardware that you should see. It is very colorful, and it helps people of determination, people with neurodiversity and other disabilities to interact with devices, right? So, but in a way that makes it more simpler to interact with courses, for example. And Jose, the founder, is sharing stories of people of determination that use this hardware and are able to complete courses. And some of these people came to be the best in their class, for example, in math. For example, there is a story of Maria that she completed a math course and she was able to outperform all of her classmates with her skills, right? So it's real. And we're working with more startups, for example, that are developing solutions and products for people of determination and people with disabilities. So it's not only about Microsoft having a technology that can scale through Microsoft products. That would be very limited to that experience, right? So what is cool about what you're doing is we are opening it up as well to a world of innovation where founders, entrepreneurs that see it, that gets it, that have the ideas and solutions to build products that can augment and enrich and solve for the experience that each one of us is going through. They're really building those solutions and we're embedding them. So we're empowering them to build those solutions and we see the stories, and that's the best reward we can get today. So, just sharing these thoughts with all of you. Truly enjoyed the conversation. Truly enjoyed spending the time with you. Loved Prajanka again. Congrats for a great singing. Really enjoyed, and it was a lot of emotions with your singing. So thank you so much for sharing with all of us, and looking forward to being in touch and support what you're doing. So as an organization that really is focused on diversity and inclusion and is building for everyone, we're really happy to support Impact and what you're doing in the region and across the world.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. Dakri ma'am to convey her gratitude to Mr. Roberto sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable time and for joining us. In fact, sharing such valuable information, because these are the information even we are really looking forward to empower our children to achieve more in the society. This is our aim. So it was indeed great for you to spare your time in highlighting these valuable points to the students, their parents who are watching, and to all of us, particularly about the MS tools and reimagining skills. That's something which I really liked, is the reimagining skills, because these are certain things which are very important. We keep pointing to certain other things, and we forget to restructure ourselves. So an inclusion level, about the communication, the parameters for employment. Why in employment we face challenges is because we don't set the parameters, as you rightly said. These are certain things we need to define to the HR, to the employer prior, what would be the behavior, how they have to accommodate. So when we do this, I think definitely the employment would be successful. And about how the execution, the accessibility, now what you told, each and every point, I'm sure I'll be sharing this recording with everyone, because it's such a valuable information you have shared with us, sir. Thank you so much. I know you are such a great person. We feel so honored and privileged to have you here. I request the IT team to share a certificate of gratitude on behalf of all the students of Prakramika Vocational Institute and Emplusive Training Center. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, team. Again, it's been my pleasure. So, thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. But definitely, your energy, the questions, and being in touch, right? So it's an ongoing conversation. So definitely looking forward to being in touch and learning more about your progress. Best of luck in your journeys, and thank you again for having me today.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Over to Ms. Ananya.
Sir, I will always remember, learn to all.
Actually, sir, I am Ananya's mom, Dr. Tejaswita. When you were talking to us earlier, she liked one line, and which was, she said, I will always remember, learn it all and not know it all. So
thank you. Yeah, this is something very important for us. It's part of our culture at Microsoft. So definitely it's something. Thank you for mentioning that, and thank you for remembering that.
Yes, Roberto sir. And our children are best at it. They learn so nicely. They're always ready to learn. They would never project that they know it everything. But whenever you take any topic and you would want them to learn it, they are best at it. They will just put their dedication and learn it. So thank you for telling that to us one more time. It's like, learn it all. Yes, we will always follow that.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I will invite Miss Akila ma'am. Faculty, Prakramika Vocational Institute to deliver the vote of thanks.
Namaste and a very good evening to one and all. I'm sure all of us were spellbound by a very engrossing session. It is Thanksgiving time. We are extremely thankful to Mr. Roberto Croci, Managing Director of Microsoft for Startups, Middle East and Africa, for immediately accepting the invitation to engage with the students of Prakramika Vocational Institute. Sir, your ideas and thoughts are highly insightful and surely will be of immense value to all of us. Once again, we convey our deepest thanks to you, sir. Without the support of parents, even the best teacher in the world will not be able to impart knowledge. The parents of our young professionals are an awesome lot. Our sincere thanks to all of them for constantly encouraging the children to learn. I also thank the young champions, the students of Prakramika, for their thoughtful questions and making the session lively. With the support of Almighty and the well-wishers, our journey will continue. Once again, many thanks to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you, sir, again. And a namaste.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming, sir.
Thank you. Namaste to everyone, and thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, then if I have any doubts, then you can teach me online also sometimes. You are from USA, no?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye,
sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Nice to
Hello, wait.
meet you.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you,
Nice meeting you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Bye,
so
sir.
much.
Bye, sir.
Sir, with your permission, shall I end the session, sir?
Sorry, Gayatri?
With your permission, can I end the session, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was just saying, I mentioned some resources. I will make sure to share with you over email so you can share, and my contacts as well. You have it. So definitely we will follow up afterward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar, sir.